Good morning and welcome back to the Haven Financial Group radio show. I'm Larry Colvig, on with Kim Kerrigan. Every week we talk about retirement, so feel free to give us a call at 612-504-8400 or visit us online at havenfinancialgroup.com. Kim, pensions, income, all of those things are so very important and an integral part of our planning process here at Haven. And a lot of people are not going to have pensions, so Now what?
All right, exactly. So let's talk about that, because you're right. A lot of these younger people who are listening, and when we say that, we mean folks maybe in their 40s, their 50s, their 60s. They don't have pensions, but you're still going to need some form of income. And that might be in the form of retirement accounts. It might be in the form of annuities. So let's talk about, first off, just if you do have a pension, what is a pension exactly, Larry?
Yeah, for years, and maybe a lot of our listeners, they do have pensions. They work for a company, the company took care of you after you retired in the form of regular income stream for as long as you live and maybe as long as your spouse lives, if there was spousal continuation. And then as time progressed, those were replaced by 401k employer-sponsored plans. No longer is there a regular income stream. Now it's reliant on the individual to save money in their retirement accounts to provide for them retirement. So the responsibility transferred from the employer to the individual. And those that are responsible have done a good job. And those that maybe didn't take it seriously now look back and go, oh my goodness, I didn't do a very good job at taking over that responsibility. And that could be a big problem because, pensions, if you have them, are very reliable in most cases. Now, I say that there are some pensions that are not as solvent or financially solvent as they should be. The backup to that is the Pension Benefit Guaranty Corporation, which is basically insurance that can back up some pensions if they're not financially solvent. That doesn't mean you're going to get the full amount, so don't get too comfortable with that. Mm-hmm. But that's where it comes into making sure you're putting money in these retirement plans, defined contribution plan, or your 401k, 403b, thrift savings plan if you're a federal employee, deferred comp if you're a state or a city type of employee. It was a big shift of responsibility, and that's where it comes down to the individual, and that's why it's so very, very important.
Well, let's talk to folks who don't have a pension but do have retirement accounts, how they turn that into income when they do decide it's time to retire.
Yeah, this is a conversation we have numerous times during the week. Just this past week, I had a couple from Farmington in, both retired federal employees with thrift savings plans. They go, we don't have a plan. Our plan was just putting it away, and thankfully they did a very, very good job of it. Mm-hmm. They were both fortunate to have federal pensions, but they need to have additional income coming from their retirement accounts, and they go, we need help. And they were openly honest about it, which is the first step, obviously.
Right.
And there's a variety of ways to do that, whether it be stacking layering some CDs, coming up with an income stream plan that way, using annuities for a guaranteed income stream. There's a variety of ways and ideas that can be thought out. But the important part is we have these discussions to suit individuals because it's not the same for everything. And then everything comes back to the tax advantages or disadvantages. Mm-hmm. Where do we draw from? Why do we draw from in the most tax efficient way possible? And that is really an integral part of our process where we integrate the investments to the estate plan, to the insurance, and the taxes as all part of the big conversation. Taxes drives all conversations, it seems like, in retirement. Sure. You worked all these years to put it away. Now you start taking it out. You've never done it before. Mm-hmm. And that's where it needs to be thoughtfully designed to make sure you're drawing from the right spots. You worked hard for every single dollar you have. Most people have, at least. Now it's thoughtfully considering where you'd start drawing from in the most tax efficient way possible. These are the conversations that we continually have every single week.
Can you turn your 401k into a steady stream of mailbox money and yet still keep it invested?
You absolutely can. But there's making sure you understand keywords like annuitization or giving up control of your money what type of investment vehicles allow this and what investment vehicles don't. What things do you control and what things do you not control? And I'm all about staying in control of your money rather than relinquishing control. I oftentimes people say, well, I don't want the nursing home to get it, which we'll talk about here soon. Yes, but at the same time, we don't have a timeline of life where we know when this could happen or couldn't happen. So be careful about the idea, I'm just going to sign it over to my kids. Well, what if you need the money? I'm sure that you have the best kids possible, but be careful about your decisions on relinquishing control. So can you control the invest? Yes, but making sure you talk through the types of investment vehicles, because unfortunately, numerous times people get talked into something, they don't think it through, and then they go, what did I just do? And then they have buyer's regret. We want to help people avoid that and make thoughtful, educated decisions so they don't come into that situation.
Now, one of those things could possibly be an annuity, and I know you spoke about that earlier. We talk about annuities pretty frequently here on the show, but they're always worth repeating for those who have not heard about them. This is a way to draw income with some of your saved money while keeping it invested. But how soon does someone need to start considering an annuity?
There's a misconceptions out there that you're too young to talk about annuity. You shouldn't talk about annuity. I hate annuities and you should hate. It's all about a bunch of financial marketing. What I will say to listeners is if you go to our website, I am teaching, it's on the calendar, the truth about annuities. I don't know another advisor, that's fine, that teaches this class, the truth about annuities. Now, I'll preface it by saying nobody has to have an annuity at all. However, can they be powerful or effective in an effective portfolio? Yes. Whether it's designed for guaranteed lifetime income or a self-directed pension, or just accumulation purposes, whether it's for legacy planning, whether it's for long-term care planning, there's a variety of reasons or arguments that could be made for it can be part of a portfolio if it makes sense. The problem is there's a lot of misconceptions and lack of information, and they can be very confusing. Some of them can be. Some of them can have a lot of higher fees. And we want people to understand why they make sense or why they don't make sense. There are some out there that only do annuities. Well, annuities aren't for everybody. There's some that do them for the wrong reason. I had somebody in recently from Shakopee, wonderful couple from Shakopee, in their latter 50s. They have a retirement nest egg that's quite large, and they were in a fixed indexed annuity that was designed for income. Well, they have more income streams in their mid to latter 50s than they're ever going to need, and they're paying a fee for something they'll never need. So that tells me somebody put them in something that was not applicable to them. Thankfully, I'm able to help them get out of it. Right. But in many cases, we're unable to get them out of it. And I'm not saying anybody did anything wrong. The problem is they didn't have all the information given to them to make the right decision. And they regretted it, but they were very thankful that I was able to help the problem.
I can't stress this enough because I think when people hear annuities, they think of high pressure sales. I really do. And that's not necessarily the case. And certainly, I know it's not the case at Haven Financial. If you are interested in annuities and you'd like to learn more, Larry has just told you about this upcoming class. You can check it out at havenfinancialgroup.com. Be sure you check it out. It is open to the public. They are free, but they do ask that you sign up. Larry, do you know, again, when that's coming up? What the date
I believe
is,
it's in May. Of course, okay. My staff makes my calendar, so off the top of my head, I don't know exactly. But the shift away from pensions has really changed the game, and you really want to stay ahead of the game. You certainly do. In financial decisions, you have to adapt to the different changes. We can help you create a plan, whether you're younger, middle age, or anything in between, or older, at any stage. But the timing, we've said it already. The timing is now. I mean, the easiest thing is for human nature is procrastination. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. But you never do it.
Right.
Why not do it now? You have nothing to lose. Don't put it off. Don't delay. At the end of the day, you're going to be very thankful and grateful that somebody prodded you to actually do something.
So the experts at Haven Financial Group can be reached at 612-504-8400. Let me give you that number one more time. It's 612-504-8400. Give them a call today. Tell them you heard us here on the radio. When we come back, planning for health care sooner rather than later, Isabella Kohi is going to be our guest. This is the Haven Financial Group radio show.